is he covered in a blanket?
Well, he
doesn't look like a pony.
Well, he is a thoroughbred gelding, $350 Shetland pony.
Is he laying down?
Yes.
Why is he laying down? He is sick. He is.
He's dead.
He's dead?
It's a hell of a thing to have to tell your daughter on her birthday.
Dead? A dead pony?
We've got to face the facts.
You got me a dead pony for my birthday.
Theater is a phenomenal teaching tool for readers of all levels. There's so much depth, so much richness and texture that you can find in these stories, some of which have been told and retold and played on stages for thousands of years by now. I like to start with short plays, things that are very easily digestible. I have a stock of really fun 5-minute sketches from contemporary playwrights.
The first couple ones were really short.
No, Click. That's what I was really confused.
I really liked the beginning of the class where we did some acting.
The sea is screaming. We're taking on water. Too much weight. We're sinking. What do you do?
Life jackets.
No life jackets. You forgot to bring them. We're sinking. Somebody has to go overboard for the good of others. What do you do?
They didn't have to memorize, they just had to get a sense of what it's like to bring a piece of literature to life on stage.
I was in the Philadelphia.
I'd go to a newsstand to buy the Daily News. The guy never heard of it.
Could have been a misunderstanding.
I asked every place. Nobody had the news. I had to read the Toronto Hairdresser. What is it? What's happening to me?
Don't panic. You're in a Philadelphia.
I'm in a what?
You're in a Philadelphia. That's all.
But I'm in...
Yes, physically you're in New York, but metaphysically you're in Philadelphia. Because you're in Philadelphia, no matter what you ask for, you ain't gonna get it. You wanna do something? It ain't gonna get done. You wanna go somewhere, you can't get there from here.
Oh, good God, this is very serious.
You're just trapped in a wormhole of sorts, which is a Philadelphia, where when you ask for something, you get the complete opposite.
Waitress, bring me a glass of water. Water. Don't have that, sir. We don't have water. What do you think we're in, a sudden grab or something?
So what you do to help yourself is ask for the complete opposite of what you want. So you get what you want.
One of the great things for teaching theater is that you can start small and look at the structure of a very short play and learn the principles that are going to expand out into larger and larger and larger pieces of literature.
Because when we read Shakespeare, you're going to need to know all of this kind of intuitively. Act 1, we start with an opening stasis. What's stasis mean?
Like a starting point.
Not just a starting point.
It's kind of like frozen time.
Everything is stable. It's almost like it's frozen because nothing's changing.
Yes. I'm afraid something rather complicated has happened to my driver's license.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Every time I think of like the DMV, I think of the movie Zootopia and the sloth. When I did it, I had to play dumb.
And then we will fire her. Do you want her to lose her job?
No, I don't. I want you to lose your job.
I felt like I was like one of those like automated things. I'm sorry, try again. I'm sorry, try, I don't know.
And then something happens that starts the story off.
You are becoming a...
Yes. What? Becoming a what? Becoming a nag? Becoming a bore?
Worse.
What? Nothing is worse than a bore.
You're becoming a... You're turning into a bag lady.
A bag lady. It's like the Big Bang.
The Big Bang. Good way to think of it, yes.
While we were doing these short plays, we had 2 students out for an extended absence.
Charlie and I are both pretty introverted. I think when Nathan initially asked us if we would fill in and play roles alongside the kids, we were a little panicked internally, but we agreed because the kids were really excited about it and we wanted to be able to join in on that fun.
You brought me to your freaking Philadelphia!
I didn't know it was contagious.
Oh God, please don't let me be in Philadelphia! Please don't let me be in Philadelphia!
Could be worse. I've been in Cleveland all week.
Cleveland? What's that like?
It's like death without the advantages.
It was great just to hand the teachers a script and go, here, break a leg. The students loved seeing that.
Want to start?
Thanks.
Charlie's role was just hilarious. He had no idea what he was walking into.
What happened to him?
Well, Lisa, I'm going to be honest with you.
What happened to my pony?
You're 13 years old now, and I'm going to talk to you like an adult.
What happened to my pony?
I shot him. About an hour ago, but here I am.
To deliver his lines without laughing really impressed me. I had no idea he had those acting chops.
I never shot a pony before. I want you to believe that. Never in my life before today.
We will have to get him back on stage for sure.
I had seen Jazz putting together her bag full of props, and so after they finished the scene, I asked, can you just unpack it for us?
I was really amazed with how much Jasmine really leaned into her role as bag lady.
Picture frame, papers.
Is the oatmeal.
And that actually turned out to be one of the funniest parts of the presentation, just as funny as anything that was in the play.
There's a spring.
It's kind of like Jazz knew how to build one.
It was just a Mary Poppins bag of oddities, and it was perfect for the role.
I do remember it being lots of fun and everybody enjoying it a lot.
This is one of the things that these short pieces really enable us to do, is look at every aspect of putting on a production. In that case, she looked at props, but we also looked at things like costume and set and lighting.
Going over the specific steps and resources you need to create a stage setting to actually move on with a play, all the prep work and time you need to dedicate to a play to actually get it up and on. So that was very, very fun for me.
One of the really hard things to lose in the pandemic has been performances for all kinds of arts, but especially theater. And so I wanted to start the semester with the students doing their own performances, and then I've tried to show them, rather than film adaptations, that actual visceral experience of having an audience there reacting directly to actors on the stage.
Bacchus, take it away. I can't. You must take it away now. I'm sorry. No, take it away now!
What's your favorite thing that we've read this semester?
Much Ado About Nothing by William Shakespeare.
Thus far, Shakespeare just for the comedic value alone.
To be honest, it was actually Death of the Salesman.
Yeah?
More than, what did they say, more than 10 seconds they didn't tell the truth. And then when they finally told the truth, it was like, I guess like happy for them. Of course, I don't want to say anything else because I don't want to spoil the story.
Spoil it.
Yeah.
Much Ado About Nothing. It's funny. I like Metamorphoses. A bunch of stories about like different Greek gods, different goddesses.
Human beings going through some sort of transformation as they interact with the gods.
Ancient Greek gods, which meshes with our language class.
And I'd like to present you with a gift. A gift. Some ability, a minor miracle, something to do at parties. Anything at all.
When we first started reading Metamorphoses, a couple of the students very awkwardly wanted to say, I don't really like the way they are telling the story.
Metamorphoses was very modernized, which I did not really enjoy.
And they were worried that I was going to be upset that, I had chosen this play, so obviously I liked it. But that disagreement is where we get really good conversations. I looked and said, okay, can you tell me why you don't like this play? Why is it that you think they're not doing the job that they should be doing? What would you do differently?
The modernization of the gods, specifically a child of the sun god, Phaeton.
His father is Apollo? Apollo. He drives the sun across the sky every day.
They had the sun be a car.
Phaeton drove the sun into the earth.
And they crashed the sun, which is a car. And they describe it as burning the world, but that doesn't make sense in my mind.
It was over before it began. It was chaos, okay? As if nobody was driving, my knees were weak. I was blind from all the light. I set the earth on fire.
And that's what the Greeks thought the cause of the Sahara Desert was.
And I fell. And it just destroyed me. I was just completely and utterly destroyed. OVER, over.
You absolutely should have an opinion. You shouldn't like everything that you read in this class, but you need to be able to explain why you don't, why this version didn't appeal to you. It's not good enough to just say, oh, that's your opinion, congratulations. You need to be able to explain where that opinion comes from.
It was almost like they tried too hard to modernize it. It didn't make sense within the context. Is this modern or is it ancient? Do we still believe in gods? Are we still worshiping gods at this point? What references are we making?
Does it ever make sense to modernize something that is ancient or classical?
Sometimes. So sometimes you have to modernize it for the sake of your audience understanding what's going on. But for the most part, you either need to go all the way or barely even touch it.
Hopefully you'll be able to appreciate everything we read, even if it's not your favorite. But whether you like or dislike something, that gives you the opportunity to learn not only about this work of literature and how others see the world, but about yourself and how you see it. That's the whole reason we study literature.
I have a good eye, Uncle. I can see a church by daylight. The revelers are entering!
Brother, make good room!
What we're reading now, and I'm delighted everyone seems to like this book so far, we're about halfway through, is William Shakespeare's Much Ado About Nothing.
At first, I think we were all kind of like, what does this mean? Because Shakespeare says a lot of things that if you were to only read it once and if you were to not break it down, it means something completely different. You wouldn't really get the full understanding.
Lady, will you walk about with your friend?
So you walk softly and look sweetly and say nothing. I am yours for the walk. And especially when I walk away!
There's the bickering back and forth, and then there's the other level of it that just makes it so much more interesting and funny. You read it, and you have a challenging time reading it at first, and then as long as you can understand the kind of jokes and double entendres that he has in there.
I never can see him, but I am heartburn an hour after.
He is of a very
Melancholy.
There we go.
Okay, pause. First of all, did we get what Beatrice said?
I kind of did, and I loved it.
Yeah? Explain it to us, Jazz.
He's so tart and acidic, you get heartburn later.
He's so tart and acidic. Like, tastes tart?
No. His attitude.
His attitude! His behavior is so acidic that it gives me heartburn.
We all understand it better, and we're all like, wow, that's what that means.
Not till God make men of some other metal than earth.
Cousin, you apprehend passing shrewdly.
I have a good eye, Uncle. I can see a church by daylight.
The revelers are entering!
So we read the play first, then we're watching scenes from different stage adaptations and one film. But instead of just saying, ooh, I recognize that actor, students are identifying what makes the film a different version.
Lady, will you walk about with your friend?
Shakespeare is something that intimidates students a lot of the time, and I think unnecessarily. There's no reason to fear Shakespeare any more than there's reason to fear a delicious meal or a roller coaster ride. These are things that are great. The whole idea is to take something challenging and dive into it and struggle with it.
You apprehend passing shrewdly.
I have a good eye, Uncle. I can see a church by daylight.
We're also watching scenes from an adaptation set in 2020 in Atlanta, Georgia, with an all-black cast.
Lady, will you walk about with your friend?
So you walk softly and look sweetly and say nothing. I am yours for the walk. And especially when I walk away.
With me in your company?
He's stuck in the shadow of his brother. What can you do from the shadows, though?
Nothing.
Not much.
You can make everything else dark.
You can make everything else dark.
Wow,
Wow,
it's like the whole plot of Star Wars.
People. You can make other people stumble into the darkness.
There's a reason we keep coming back to these same stories year after year, century after century. They are timeless.
I think everyone will be called upon to act at some point in this scene. So,
Hey, I'm a hero.
alright, that will be our short, pretty girl.
I'd rather hear my dog bark at a crow than a man swear he loves me.
God keep your ladyship still in that mind, so some gentleman or other shall escape a predestinate's scratched face.
Scratching could not make it worse than 'twere such a face as yours were.
A middle school drama in the form of high society England Because there are masquerades, there are shooting tournaments.
Beatrice and Benedict just are really good at throwing insults at each other.
They're both like, I hate love. I'm never going to love. And they're like, haha, let's shove it in the face. They're gonna love.
Wouldn't it be funny if? It's gonna be a good practical joke. If these two people who supposedly hate each other and supposedly hate love
Fall in love.
fell in love, and not only fell in love, but
With each other.
with each other. Wouldn't that be the funniest thing?
I've had friends who have done that before.
Yes.
I like to start each class with a quotation of the day that is not directly related to what we have read or what we are working on. When we discuss it and we tease it out a little bit and unpack what it means, connects to what's going on.
At first, I was like, books. And I was like, yeah, this is probably good for me. You know, get back into reading a book once in a while.
The Socratic method is a form of teaching that recognizes learning is not simply about absorbing knowledge. It's not a question of a teacher turning your head sideways and pouring a bucket of knowledge in through your ear and hoping it stays in your head.
Angry, sad. Is there any time that the truth makes Willie happy? No.
You ask the question, and the students are the ones who have to figure out how to answer that question. You don't give them the answer. You give them the right line of questioning to follow.
So we would do well to define our terms, right?
In my mind, love is caring for someone and tolerating all their flaws, whereas caring is just taking care of them.
What I think of loving someone is like, if they left you or they hurt your feelings, you would be emotionally distraught. Whereas if you cared about someone and they hurt you, it might make you sad for a day or two, but you could live on with it.
I don't know, I just think of love and I think of like an overwhelming feeling that you can't control. It's so overpowering that like you don't know what to do with it.
That sounds like what Biff is going through, right? He's been trying to talk to his dad, trying. Finally, he just like breaks down crying. He's overwhelmed.
My role is to help them develop their instincts so that they can ask those great questions and recognize the patterns.
Then we said it was tolerating the person's flaws.
If you really love them, then you'll ignore their flaws and...
So Linda loves Willie.
Oh, she ignores most of them.
She ignores everything.
Yeah.
Is that good?
No, that's like a
You're supposed to like
toxic
embrace it.
relationship or something.
Really beginning to question, how does this relate to my life? How does this work of literature that somebody half a world away 2,000 years ago created relate to me?
And then you get Berenger, which is more like me, where his hair is untidy, he hasn't shaved for a while.
There's only so many flaws you can ignore until it comes to a point that you're not really ignoring flaws, you're just
ignoring them in general.
Yeah.
Oh man, how much of Willie is Linda ignoring by now?
I think 99%.
99%.
Like, if she ignores every time he is irrational, and he's irrational 90% of the time, she's ignoring most of him.
And so it's a lot of fun because I have no idea where class is going on any given day. It depends on how they want to respond to questions I ask and what questions they bring to class that day.
I had a personal eureka moment. There's a lot of hot potato like passing blame in this.
Yes.
Nobody wants to take responsibility for anything in this.
And what does it show you about, the way adults behave sometimes?
You never really grow out of it. You could say, I'm an adult, I've matured, but that never really happens.
The truth can't usually make you happy, but facing the truth is the right thing to do.
If the thing that's making you happy is a lie, then is it really happiness?
This sort of inquiry is the ultimate student-driven learning.
He just sold his life.
He thought he thought he was doing good, but he
was a
wasn't.
salesman.
Yes!
He tried to make everything better, but he just made it worse.
The next project that I've got students working on, I'm really excited about. they are going to go back to acting, but this time they're going to be reciting monologues from Shakespeare.
Thou wilt never get thee a husband if thou be so shrewd of thy tongue.
He that hath a beard is more than a youth, and he that hath no beard is less than a man.
What do you want in a war?
To get to a point where the other one surrenders.
And what do you mean by surrender?
Listen to what
Make
he
them
said.
agree to your terms.
Like I said, roll over.
It's fundamentally as much division, as much disagreement as we see in the world today. We're all still the same people. And we're the same people that we were.
Like, some of the parts of the story was actually, like, really sad. And, like, I got a little, like, I was like, that's really, really upsetting.
When Sophocles was writing, when Shakespeare was writing,
And the loss that comes from a sudden self-consciousness or impatience.
when Arthur Miller, when Mary Zimmerman, it doesn't matter what part of the world, what era of history. We're facing the same struggles. We're arguing with parents. We're trying to find our own way in the world. We're trying to decide between a career and a family. We fear being betrayed. We fall hopelessly in love. We make foolish mistakes. And then we beg for forgiveness.
Give me a mental breakdown every night? No! But that's what it seems like.
And at the start, it looks like they're all happy, but you find out that there's a lot of problems, like with every single one of them.
And hopefully, if students learn to read well, learn to recognize these patterns, they will recognize when they ought to be the ones offering forgiveness as well.
Let me die still loving, and so never die.
It's looking at life at different perspectives. You're not seeing life as just life. You're seeing you're trying to find a meaning in everything, or just a lot of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well done.